Miss Mary Jane, you can't bear to see people in trouble. And I can't, most always. Tell me about it.
Dear, dear, to think that they ain't ever going to see each other anymore.
But they will, and inside of 2 weeks, I know it.
Miss Mary Jane, is there any place outside of town a little ways where you could stay 3 or 4 days?
Yes, Mr. Lothrop's house. Why?
Never mind why yet. But if I told you that the niggers would see each other again, would you stay at Mr. Lanthrop's for 4 days?
4 days? I'd stay a year.
Alright, and I don't want anything more than just your word. I'd rather it than any other man's kiss the Bible. And if you don't mind, I'll shut the door and bolt it.
Don't you holler. Just set still and take it like a man. I got to tell the truth, and you want to brace up, Miss Mary. Because it's a bad kind, and going to be hard to take, but there ain't no help for it. These uncles of yourn ain't no uncles at all. They're just a couple of frauds, regular deadbeats. There, now we're over the worst of it. You can sand and rest middling easy.
The brute! Come, don't waste a minute, not a second. We'll have them tarred and feathered and flung into the river.
So I wrote. I put it in the coffin. It was in there when you was crying there, away in the night. I was behind the door, and I was mighty sorry for you, Miss Mary Jane.
Goodbye. I'm going to do everything just as you've told me. And if I don't ever see you again, I shan't ever forget you. And I'll think of you many a time, and I'll pray for you, too.
Pray for me? I reckoned if she knowed me, she'd take a job that was more nearer her size. But I bet she done it just the same. She was just that kind. She had the grit to pray for Judas if she took the notion. There weren't no back town to her, I judge. You may say what you want to, but in my opinion, she had more sand in her than any other girl I ever see. In my opinion, she was just full of sand. It sounds like flattery, but it ain't no flattery. And when it comes to beauty, and goodness too, she lays over them all. I ain't ever seen her since that time that I see her go out that door. No, I ain't ever seen her since. But I reckon I've thought of her a many and a million times. And of her saying that she would pray for me. And if ever I'd a thought it would do any good for me to pray for her, blamed if I wouldn't have done it or bust.
These quotes represent the theme which were displayed in our scene. Quote 1. It made me feel so mean I could almost kiss his foot to get him to take it back. It was 15 minutes before I could work myself up to go and humble myself to a nigger. But I done it and I won't ever sorry for it afterwards, neither. I didn't do him no more mean tricks and I couldn't done that one if I knowed it would make me feel that way. Quote 2. I was a-trembling because I got to decide forever betwixt 2 things, and I knowed it. I studied a minute, sort of holding my breath, and then says to myself, all right, then I'll go to hell, and tore it up. Quote 3. Pray for me. I reckoned if she'd know me, she'd take a job that was more near her size. But I bet she'd done it just the same. She was just that kind. She had the grit to pray for Judas if she took the notion. There weren't no back down to her, I judge. You may say what you want to her, but in my opinion, she had more sand in her than any girl I've seen. In my opinion, she was just full of sand.
These 3 quotes that we have chosen represent a theme that is woven throughout the adventures of Huckleberry Finn. This theme is all about Huck developing his own standards and values and realizing that what may seem to be right is not actually right. And even though what everyone else is doing around him is what seems to be okay, it maybe is not, he realizes. These quotes that we have chosen are pivotal points in the book that show Huck changing and evolving. This idea of Huck having to forever choose betwixt 2 things is evident in this scene that we portray. In this scene, Huck decides to tell the truth to Mary Jane. He selflessly tells her. He could get in trouble, and he does, or he could have taken the money for himself. We have chosen to place Mary Jane in our portrayal of this scene in a white blouse. We decided to do this because she needs to be portrayed and seen from the viewer's point of view as a pure and innocent character. Although Huck is not in a white outfit, he is getting there, and through his interaction with Mary Jane, he realizes what a pure and innocent person is and what they do, and he realizes that when he finds out what he forever stands for, he can become that. Another artistic choice we chose to make is having Huck's thought process really emphasized. His thought process is really important. Huck thinks about in his head, is about Mary Jane saying that she will pray for him. And he's amazed that she would pray for him because he feels he has done so much, and who would ever want to pray for someone who is so horribly and wrong? He talks about how Mary Jane would even pray for Judas if she put that thought into her head. Now Judas, according to the New Testament, is one of Jesus Christ's 12 apostles. He is the one that was paid and decided to betray Christ. All he had to do was simply kiss Jesus Christ on the cheek, and the Romans would find out who Jesus Christ was and take him away. This portrayal and thought process of Huck portraying himself as Judas is important because Huck too betrayed someone who was so pure and innocent, just like Jesus Christ. Mary Jane was the pure and innocent one that he betrayed, and he feels so terribly wrong. But the thing is, he's stunned and it wonders why Mary Jane isn't mad at him, and instead simply says she'll pray for him, and he realizes that he can change. And that is really important, because through this book we realize that we can change, and that there's so many good people out there.